This evening, first up, stern warning from the US. 7 Guyanese were deported, and now the government is urging citizens to think twice before risking illegal migration. What's behind the new crackdown, and how could this affect you? Plus, zero-interest loans are coming. Vice President Bharrat Jagdeo announces a game-changing development bank. Could this be your shot to start a business with no interest? Also, election tensions brewing. With national elections looming, the AFC is sounding the alarm over GECOM's legal advice. Is Guyana's electoral integrity at risk? Meanwhile, new era in healthcare. The Diamond Diagnostic Centre has closed its doors, making way for a cutting-edge $6.6 billion regional hospital. We'll take you inside the facility that promises to change lives. Finally, terror in Colombia. A series of deadly bombing shakes southwest Colombia. Who's behind the attacks and what message are they sending? All this and more coming up on Headline News Update. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for June 11th, 2025. I am Baby Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, the government of Guyana has issued a stern warning to its citizens about the dangers and consequences of illegal migration to the United States. This warning came less than 24 hours after 7 deported Guyanese nationals were returned home. In a statement released today, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced that it had received an official diplomatic note from the U.S. government highlighting the strict enforcement of immigration laws under President Donald Trump's reinstated and expanded policies. The note emphasized that while the U.S. continues to welcome lawful travelers, it is prioritizing the prosecution of foreign nationals who enter or remain in the country unlawfully. The ministry warned that undocumented Guyanese, or those who overstay their visas, could face arrest, prosecution, imprisonment, or heavy fines. Guyanese are being urged to use only legal avenues for migration, work, education, or travel, and those currently in the U.S. illegally are advised to leave immediately. The warning follows a similar advisory issued last week by the U.S. Embassy in Georgetown against birth tourism. The embassy stated that using a visa to give birth in the U.S. to obtain citizenship for the child is not permitted and could result in future visa denials, particularly if the government assistance such as Medicaid is used. The Guyana government reiterated its call for full compliance with U.S. immigration laws to avoid serious legal consequences. In other news, the Alliance for Change AFC is calling on the Guyana Elections Commission to reconsider its reported reliance on the Attorney General for legal advice ahead of the upcoming general and regional elections, citing concerns over a conflict of interest. In a letter to GECOM chairperson, AFC leader Nigel Hughes warned that the Attorney General, who is also a political candidate, cannot be seen as an impartial legal advisor to the Commission. He emphasized that GECOM's independence could be compromised by such an arrangement, particularly in the absence of an independent legal counsel. However, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anu Nandalal, during his weekly program Issues in the News last evening, said that while he is not the legal advisor to GECOM, he holds the position of the most senior legal officer of the state and serves as the principal legal advisor to the government of Guyana. As such, it is customary for state agencies to seek legal opinions on various matters.
Historically, the legal opinion of the Attorney General has been sought by GECOM for many decades. And the Attorney General's office has never declined a request to offer a legal opinion to important state agencies, including, of course, GECOM. I challenge the 3 commissioners who are there now to deny that during 2015 to 2020 that they did not approach the Attorney General chambers for legal guidance on many issues.
He was added in his letter that his party is disturbed by suggestions that the Attorney General would advise GECOM on election matters, noting the potential impact on public confidence and electoral transparency. The AFC has urged GECOM to urgently appoint an independent, non-partisan legal advisor to ensure the credibility of the electoral process. Nandalal stated that GECOM chair, acting on behalf of the Commission, wrote to the Attorney General's office requesting clarification on recent amendments to the National Registration Act and the Representation of the People's Act. In response, the Office of the Attorney General provided its legal opinion, outlining the relevant legal requirements.
State has always historically sought the legal opinion of the Attorney General. This is different from the Attorney General being the legal advisor to those state agencies. The difference, subtle as it is, one would expect would be appreciated by a lawyer such as Mr. Hughes. But obviously, the nuance is lost upon Mr. Hughes. So he accuses the Attorney General of being the legal advisor of GECOM.
The debate over GECOM's legal guidance comes at a critical juncture, with national elections on the horizon and public trust in the electoral process paramount. The issue has now added a new layer of scrutiny to the preparations for Guyana's upcoming elections. On a different note, Diamond residents now have access to a new state-of-the-art hospital as the Diamond Diagnostic Centre officially closes. Dominic Gittins has more on the $6.6 billion healthcare upgrade.
Residents of Diamond and surrounding communities are now being served by a brand new state-of-the-art healthcare facility following the permanent closure of the Diamond Diagnostic Centre. The Ministry of Health has officially closed the Diamond Diagnostic Centre, with all services now transferred to the newly commissioned Diamond Regional Hospital. The $6.6 billion state-of-the-art facility, located at the Great Diamond Housing Scheme on the east bank of the Demerara, was commissioned on Sunday and is the first of 6 regional hospitals to open under a national healthcare expansion plan. In a notice issued Monday, the ministry confirmed the permanent closure of the diagnostic center, stating that all medical services are now available at the new hospital. The Diamond Regional Hospital spans 6,000 square meters and includes 75 beds, 24 hours emergency care, laboratory and imagery services, a dental suite, and 4 operating theaters. It also houses its own oxygen plant, blood bank system, and 6 mortuary chambers. Each bed is equipped with a nurse call button to improve patient care. The now decommissioned Diamond Diagnostic Centre, initially opened in 2007, was upgraded in 2021 into a smart hospital under a UK-funded initiative costing over $200 million. Despite its eco-friendly enhancements, including solar energy and rainwater harvesting systems, it has been succeeded by a more advanced regional facility. The new hospital represents a significant milestone in the government's ongoing efforts to enhance access to quality healthcare throughout Guyana. Reporting for Channel 2 Headline News, Dominic Gittins.
Thanks, Dominic. Stick around when we return. Guyana to launch zero-interest development bank for SMEs, and COVID-19 concerns is resurfacing Georgetown as conflicting reports emerge on school infections.
Father's Day. Digicel is showing love to the real MVPs, all the father figures who hold it down every day. And we're not talking socks and ties. We're talking an 85-inch TV to watch his favorite sports and a barbecue grill fit for the king of the backyard. 4 lucky winners will take home this epic combo. Just top up $1,000 or more and boom! You're entered into the draw. Give dad the gift of entertainment. Top up now. Grill and chill with Digicel this Father's Day.
GECOM will be conducting a claims and objections exercise commencing June 16, 2025 to produce an official list of electors for the conduct of general and regional elections on September 1, 2025. If you will be 18 years or older by June 30, 2025 and you are a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent or naturalization or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GECOM will post the preliminary list of electors PLE in all of the registration divisions for you to check if you are listed and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. If you have changed your address since you were registered, you need to visit the GECOM registration office responsible for your new area of residence to apply for a transfer. If you do not apply for a transfer, you will have to go to the polling station where you will be listed to vote based on your previous residence. Wednesday, June 18, 2025 is the last day you can apply for a transfer during this exercise. For more information, contact GECOM on 225-027729 or visit www.gecom.org.gy.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Coffee smalls make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Guyana is set to launch a new development bank that will offer zero-interest loans to small and medium-sized businesses, a bold move by the government to fuel entrepreneurship and expand local investment. The announcement was made on Tuesday by Vice President Dr. Bharrat Jagdeo during his congratulatory speech at the Guyana Online Academy of Learning graduation ceremony at the National Cultural Center. Addressing over 2,000 graduates, including 580 master's degree recipients, Dr. Jagdeo urged young professionals to seize emerging economic opportunities by launching their own ventures rather than relying solely on traditional public sector jobs. The Vice President said the Development Bank will be a cornerstone of the government's economic strategy, designed to democratize investment and open doors for Guyanese in high-growth industries such as oil and gas, hospitality, technology, and agriculture. He added that the government plans to prioritize financial literacy and state-guaranteed investment options to empower small investors and stimulate inclusive growth. Jagdeo also celebrated the success of the Gold Scholarship Program, which has surpassed its target of 20,000 scholarships with over 39,000 awarded to date. He described the achievement as a gratifying moment and a testament to the government's commitment to education and opportunity. The Vice President told the graduates that they are graduating in a country that's rapidly changing and they should not limit themselves to government jobs, but instead create companies, pursue opportunities, and build the future. Moving on, concerns over a possible resurgence of COVID-19 have emerged following reports of students' infections at 2 city schools. Dominic Gittins has the latest details and official responses.
COVID-19 fears has resurfaced in the capital as reports of multiple students from at least 2 primary schools have tested positive for the virus, sparking public concern and confusion following conflicted reports from health and education officials. Reports are that 2 students from a primary school have tested positive for COVID-19, with one of the students reportedly being admitted to the COVID-19 intensive care unit at the Infectious Disease Hospital at Liliendal. In response, teachers at the schools were instructed to notify parents that classes would be dismissed early on Wednesday to allow for fumigation and sanitization. Workers were expected on site by 3 p.m. However, further reports have been circulated that 3 students from the West Rumville Primary School have also tested positive for the virus. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education has strongly denied that report. In a press statement released today, the ministry called the report false, citing confirmation from the school's head teacher that no such cases has been reported among students or staff. The ministry also emphasized that no official illness notification had been received. The ministry stated that this misinformation not only causes unnecessary panic, but also undermines the trust and confidence of the public in our education system. It assured the public that schools are being regularly sanitized and any health risks are addressed swiftly in collaboration with the Ministry of Health. These developments follow a recent advisory by the Ministry of Health, which urged the public to remain vigilant after the World Health Organization classified a new COVID-19 variant, NB181, as a variant under monitoring. The variant had reportedly contributed to a rise in global and regional COVID-19 cases, including in the Caribbean. The Ministry of Health is advising the public to continue practicing good hygiene, seek immediate testing if exposed, and follow all health protocols. Reporting for Channel 2 Headline News, Dominic Gittins.
Thanks, Dominic. Don't go away after the break. Brazil's Bolsonaro testifies before Supreme Court over alleged coup plans, and Colombia reels as FARC dissidents launch coordinated bomb attacks across Southwest.
This Father's Day, Digicel is showing love to the real MVPs, all the father figures who hold it down every day. And we're not talking socks and ties. We're talking an 85-inch TV to watch his favorite sports and a barbecue grill fit for the king of the backyard. 4 lucky winners will take home this epic combo. Just top up $1,000 or more and boom, you're entered into the draw. Give dad the gift of entertainment. Top up now, grill and chill with Digicel this Father's Day.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services. 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
GECOM will be conducting a claims and objections exercise commencing June 16, 2025 to produce an official list of electors for the conduct of general and regional elections on September 1, 2025. If you will be 18 years or older by June 30, 2025 and you are a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GECOM will post the preliminary list of electors in all registration divisions for you to check if you are listed and if your particulars are accurate. You can object to anyone you believe does not qualify for inclusion in the OLE. To do so, you must be listed on the same divisional list as the person you are objecting to. You must visit the GECOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to make an objection. The objections aspect of this exercise will end on Friday, June 20, 2025. For more information, contact the GECOM on 225-0277-9 or visit www.gecom.org.gy.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. Jamaica's dairy industry is set for a boost with the importation of 250 high-quality dairy cows this year through the Jamaica Dairy Development Board's Livestock Improvement Program. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining says this will improve local genetics, enhance the Jamaica whole breed, and cut milk imports. The government is investing $35 million in equipment and training, aiming to revitalize the industry and create jobs. A wave of coordinated bombings and gun attacks has struck southwest Colombia, leaving at least 7 people dead and dozens wounded. The violence, blamed on FARC dissident groups, targeted police stations, military installations, and government buildings across 3 regions. Al Jazeera's Alexandria Rampiete reports.
In the span of 3 hours, a coordinated wave of attacks shook southwest Colombia on Tuesday. Car, motorcycle, and drone bombs exploded in at least 3 regions, striking police stations, military installations, and government buildings. In Corinto, in the Cauca department, a car bomb tore through the main square, leaving residents terrified and furious with the government.
Why should we call the government at this moment? We don't have any government. Who are we going to talk to?
Military intelligence blames the attacks on a FARC dissident group that rejected the 2016 peace deal. Talks under the government's total peace policy collapsed months ago. Since then, the military has launched an offensive against the fighters.
According to the preliminary analysis of our military intelligence, those responsible for the attacks are the residual structures of the FARC dissidents, Jaime Martinez, Carlos Patino, and Dagoberto Ramos.
Overall, this has created an atmosphere of terror across an important part of the country, and it comes just a couple of days after a Colombian senator, Miguel Uribe Turbay, and presidential hopeful was shot here in the capital, Bogota. The senator remains in critical condition. President Gustavo Petro has called an emergency meeting with military commanders in Cali to examine possible links between the attacks and the attempt on Uribe Turbay's life. Authorities are especially concerned by the rebels' ability to strike major cities like Cali, Colombia's 3rd largest, where 2 blasts went off almost simultaneously in different neighborhoods, including outside the Los Mangos police station, where 1 person died and others were injured.
A splinter fell on me here, stuck in my shirt and made a small hole. God saved me.
The violence highlights the government's struggle to rein in armed groups and raises fears of more political violence ahead of Colombia's 2026 presidential elections. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera, Bogota.
Brazil's far-right former President Jair Bolsonaro, testifying for the first time before the nation's Supreme Court, has denied involvement in an alleged coup plot to remain in power and overturn the 2022 election results that he lost to current leftist President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Al Jazeera's Monica Yankier reports.
A trial broadcast live on Brazilian television. Former President Jair Bolsonaro taking the stand in the Supreme Court, defending himself from accusations that he plotted a coup to remain in power after losing the 2022 elections to current President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva.
You haven't seen me act against the Constitution at any time. I played by the rules all the time.
Bolsonaro downplayed the riots that took place in the capital, Brasilia, on January 8, 2023, 1 week after Lula took office. Thousands of his supporters stormed the Supreme Court, Congress, and the presidential palace, calling for military intervention. They were echoing unsubstantiated claims made by Bolsonaro himself that Brazil's electronic voting system could be easily rigged and that the 2022 elections had been stolen.
A coup? That gives me the chills. They say January the 8th was a coup. 1,500 people, the poor souls, arriving in 100 buses, and then they left the following day after that mess.
Bolsonaro is also accused of discussing plans with his cabinet members to declare a state of emergency in case he lost the elections. 7 other alleged co-conspirators are also on trial, including 3 army generals and the former Navy commander. The former president has said in the past he believes he will be imprisoned, but political analysts say he used his time in court to rally his supporters ahead of the 2026 presidential elections.
Bolsonaro's strategy is to rally his far-right electoral base to elect a conservative president next year, one that can pardon him and the January 8, 2022 rioters. So far, Brazil's Supreme Court has stood up to their attacks on our democratic institutions.
The Supreme Court will still hear final arguments before issuing its verdict in the coming months.
The trial comes at a crucial moment. President Lula's popularity is on decline as this politically divided country prepares to elect his successor next year. Monica Yanaki of Al Jazeera, Rio de Janeiro.
A state of emergency and nighttime curfew has failed to stop demonstrations in downtown Los Angeles. These were the city's latest response to mass protests against federal immigration raids. Similar demonstrations have spread to cities across the United States. Al Jazeera's Phil Lavelle reports.
This is what a show of force looks like in Los Angeles right now. Police everywhere in downtown blocking streets and freeway entrances. Protesters here insist they are peaceful. Some are, literally. But they're loud about their cause, gathering near a federal detention center, the focal point of resistance against Donald Trump's immigration crackdown, watched intently by riot police and the National Guard, sent here by President Trump over the state governor's head. And even with huge numbers, it's hard to manage such massive crowds that can move quickly and nimbly. Police have started making arrests. They've been loading people from that federal building onto buses and driving them away. In the last few minutes, they've arrived on horseback. Now, that usually means they're here to disperse the crowd. But look, there is no crowd here because they've moved on. And organisers say that is because they are trying to keep the police guessing where they're going to be next.
No justice!
From Atlanta to Washington, D.C. to Chicago, these protests are spreading nationally in defiance of the president's orders, buoyed by what's happening in L.A. As he addressed the military on the East Coast,
I've deployed thousands of National Guard troops and hundreds of Marines to protect federal law enforcement from the attacks of a vicious and violent mob.
On the West Coast, they're here already. 700 Marines waiting outside Los Angeles, ready to move onto the streets if given the command. 4,000 National Guard here too, now not just protecting buildings, but going out with federal agents as they conduct the raids that have seen more than 100 undocumented migrants scooped up in recent days, and some already deported. A sight that is horrifying Governor Gavin Newsom, accusing the president of overreach by activating the military and a move towards authoritarianism.
Trump is pulling a military dragnet all across Los Angeles, well beyond his stated intent to just go after violent and serious criminals. Democracy is next. Democracy is under assault before our eyes. This moment we have feared has arrived.
The moment many in LA fear is nightfall. Shopkeepers boarding up, terrified of more looting. That's why the mayor brought in an emergency curfew with just 2 hours' notice.
After the violence that took place last night, 23 businesses looted, and just the extensive, widespread nature of the vandalism, we reached a tipping point and declared a state of emergency and called for the curfew.
California is suing the administration, claiming Trump is acting illegally. But a federal judge threw out an emergency plea on Tuesday, meaning the state has to wait for another hearing on Thursday. And 2 days is a long time here right now for the police, for the protesters and the migrants. But there is defiance in the air, and it's only getting stronger. Phil Lavelle, Al Jazeera, Los Angeles.
This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3rd weather forecast. And that's TV2 Headline News for this Wednesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.